power up. Oops. Show you a little test here. Now, the blue lights are not going to go solid because it's probably not going to get a GPS lock in here. It's super cloudy outside and wet and nasty, but what's going to happen here is once the GPS gets a lock, the front blue lights will go solid, and then when you arm it, the red lights will go solid. It should let me arm it, and let's see, when it arms, you'll get that. Now, of course, it doesn't have a GPS lock right now, but because you still see the blue light flashing at the very back, that's the flight controller, and that blue light is the GPS. Actually, of course, if you don't do anything, it'll automatically disarm, but you can still fly without a GPS lock and the lights will go solid, but it'll still be blinking on the flight controller. That's totally normal. But everything is pretty clean. Let me catch some lights here and I'll show you some wiring. Well, yeah, everything's pretty crammed in here. So along the top, the telemetry module is stuck to the top of the OSD module. That way the antenna can go up top, and then the wiring runs down the middle. I had to use a 12-volt UBEC because you're running 4S. And then up here we have the power distribution board, and it's all isolated, all insulated and isolated from being able to short on anything. Then up front we have the FPV camera, is adjustable. Of course, loosen the screws up before you do that. Then the antennas for the transmitter are on the side like that, one on this side, one on the other, and they can adjust. You know, you can turn them on these poles here to face down a little more, but this is about the pitch where they need to stay. One on that side. Then on the back, the FPV transmitter is on the back, and that way we can face the antenna down. If you get another antenna, you can get one that's got a 90-degree on it, and that'll let it face down if you get like a circular polarized mushroom antenna or something like that. On the telemetry antenna, they make shorter ones than this. Of course, the range isn't going to be as far, but you're not going to be going far. If this falls this way while we're spinning here, that could bring it down. So there's one way to fix that, and that's to tape the antenna right here where it turns, where the thumb screw turns. Get it where you want it, like this, and then put a piece of tape around it right here real good, or even super glue it. I don't know if you want to ruin it, but you can get more. The smaller one will work for a long ways, and it probably still would probably catch the tip, but the smaller one is the size of the FPV antenna. So other than that, that's pretty much it. Oh, I added one other thing on the front up here. I added a bracket that fits your pipes for a gimbal to mount to. You still may have to figure out how to do some holes. That plate can be unscrewed, and another plate can be screwed onto those dampeners to get a solid plate, so that you can drill your own holes for the gimbal to screw to. Then that lead right there is a JST. I'm going to give you the other end of it, and you'll just have to adapt to your gimbal power. That's your gimbal power. And then that little coiled wire right there, that's your gimbal control wires. They're marked pitch and roll. That's where it's going to plug into the gimbal to control the gimbal. The camera control wire, that's going to have to be extended some kind of way. I don't know if you're going to be using the iLook. If you're not going to be using an iLook camera, then don't worry about it. It's not a problem. But I'll be changing this. This mast, it's got one threaded screw that screws it to the base. That's how it mounts down, and it's super wobbly. It moves around and stuff like that. I can just see this becoming a problem. And I have one that screws down with 4 screws. The base on it has 4 threaded screws, and I'm gonna have to figure out where it's gonna mount right there. But even if I have to drill holes and use my own screws and nuts and lock washers, that would be much better than that thing. Plus I can make it to where it folds down on the side here. Maybe put it on this side so it won't fold and hit the wire, but it can fold down, so when you close all this up, it'll be folded down and you can pack it away without hurting anything. But that's a little rundown. It's pretty much ready to go fly. I balanced all of these props. These are the props I recommend you use. One thing about these props and these motors, it's more the motor. These washers, they go on top of the props. They have to be lined up with the thread hole. So if I was to take the screws out and turn it 180 degrees, they wouldn't line up. So you have to turn them exactly the way they are. So I have them right how they are now. So if you go taking them off, make sure that these go back exactly like this. But the props are balanced. I have a Dubro balancer, so their balanced is about as good as it gets. I haven't test flown it yet, though, after balancing it, but it was smooth before they were balanced, and a few of them were pretty far. So I can imagine how it's going to be now. All right, get ready to get it pretty soon here. I got the GPS to do and a few flights to make, but I'm talking about a few days, and I'll be sending it probably the day after Christmas. I don't know what day the day after Christmas is, but whichever day after Christmas the post office is open, that's the day I'll be sending it. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Talk to you later.